So, we're proud to welcome to the stage three people who were there with Kate in Rome. The first speaker you heard from earlier, please welcome back a perfect example of courage, grace, fortitude, and persistence, Nobel Peace Prize winner, the incredible CEO of Rappler, Maria Ressa.
And joining Maria, extremely honored to welcome her fellow Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Tawakkol Karman. She became the first Yemeni, the first Arab, and the second Muslim woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Tawakkol has been part of our One Young World family, attending our 2017 summit in Bogota and our 2018 summit at The Hague. And believe me, when you're in a room with Maria and Tawakkol, you need to keep quiet and listen. Tawakkol.
Thank you.
And finally, and we've talked a lot about some of the desperate stories of the world, and we've also shared the fantastic story of Professor Yunus. Please welcome a member of the One Young World family who's attended 12 summits. He's Professor Yunus's right hand. He's the founder of Yunus and You, Dominic Douster.
Hey, Tom. Okay, so we've welcomed Maria, Tawakkol, and Dom. Honored to have you guys here. It's kind of like family. We go back to the Vatican, yeah? Before we start, we have a brief message from Cardinal Mauro Gambetti, who organized these meetings in Rome, the meetings for fraternity. Cardinale.
I regret not being able to be with you today. Unfortunately, some important meetings at the Vatican prevent me to be present as I would have liked. First and foremost, I would like to thank One Young World for this kind invitation, and especially, together with the Nobel Prize winners present here, for believing in and supporting from the very beginning our initiative of the World Meeting of Human Fraternity, promoted by the Papal Foundation Fratelli Tutti. In the encyclica Fratelli Tutti, Pope Francis wrote that fraternity has something positive to offer to freedom and equality. When we encounter a brother, we see a face, not a number, a human being who thinks, desires, loves, and hopes, not something to be used, exploited, or discarded. Today, unfortunately, we have forgotten all of this. We are lost. Our initiative aims to create a global alliance among all those who want to reverse this paradigm and spread a new culture of fraternity across the world. In a world torn apart by violence, war, and climate change, only a great spiritual and social alliance born from the heart and revolving around fraternity, can place the sacredness and inviolability of human dignity at the center of our relationships. Fraternity doesn't need theories, but concrete actions and shared choices that make it a culture of peace. The question we must ask ourselves is not what can society and the world give me, but what can I give to my brothers and sisters? These are the same questions you ask yourselves at your annual gathering. I was extremely impressed to hear that since 2010, One Young World Ambassador projects have impacted the lives of over 41 million people. When people and societies choose fraternity, politics changes too. People take precedence over profit. The home we all share is protected instead of being exploited for self-interest. Work is fairly compensated. Hospitality becomes a wealth. Life becomes hope. Justice opens the door to restoration, and the memory of past wrongs is healed through the encounter between victims and offenders. For this reason, we need each one of you to make a difference. Dear young people of One Young World, we are looking forward to seeing all of you on September 13, 2025, together with Pope Francis in Rome to celebrate the third meeting of fraternity. In St. Peter's Square, only together can we defeat indifference and build a future that once again puts at the center the goal that unites us all: be human. Thank you once again for your attention, and see you again. God bless.
Right, so, my girls, right? You were invited along with all of the other Nobel Peace Laureates to start Fratelli Tutti's mission last year when we saw you in Rome. So, Maria, from Philippines, how many years under the Catholic Church, as you said to us earlier, and then Hollywood? Tawakkol, a Muslim woman. Why did you guys show up in Rome and come back this year? Tawakkol, you first.
Okay. First, I am so happy to be back in One Young World. This is my family and my house. And because of that, I changed chairs and take my water, and I feel myself very comfortable. Yes, as a Muslim woman, I was with the Pope Francis and the Vatican. We did a great victory on writing the fraternity document and declaration that calls all the world to be with us in this very important declaration that calls all the world for peace, for love, for the same thing, a new identification to a new meaning to fraternity and peace, which is also justice, which is also rule of law, which is also democracy, which is also protecting our, environmental, protecting the climate in general. So it makes it, more, abroad than just, which is very important, the absence of war. It is, peace. It is the absence of war, but also it is the existence of injustice, compassion, and rule of law and democracy. So that all of that, it gave a real new meaning of fraternity. So I'm so happy as a Muslim woman that work with Christian people, with Jewish people, with Buddhist people, with non-believers people, that this world is belong to us, and we are all human beings, and we have to work with each other, love each other, and make this the future for the new generation better place for all of us. Thank you.
Maria, Dr. Maria, Professor Maria, everything Maria.
No. So I would say before we got before we got the first letter for Fratelli Tutti, I would call myself a wayward Catholic. And,
Same club.
Right? So wayward Catholic, and the Philippines is Asia's largest Roman Catholic nation. But, these meetings have been incredible, not just in restoring my faith in, my faith in the institution, the Catholic Church, which has its problems, but, in pulling us together. So the other thing that I will address is, it was actually the two of us who, it was you and Shirin Ebadi from Iran, the Nobel laureate from Iran, who first brought up even the name fraternity,
Yeah.
right? Could we turn it to sorority? No, but you know, a little bit more inclusive of women.
That's quite hard for the Vatican
It
to
was
do, huh?
very, but you know what was fantastic is we talked about it,
Yeah.
right? And then
It's a lot of discussion about the words, especially in America. Yeah. Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
it was really
But the meaning,
incredible.
what does it mean?
Right, and I think hopefully that discussion was also good for the bishops and the
Yep,
cardinals in the room with
absolutely.
us, right? But so what is it about? You know, you heard me talk earlier about how the worst part of humanity is incentivized. The incentive structures for everything on your phone, for the information ecosystem that connects us, is the worst of who we are. And one of the things I realized with our first meeting with the first 30 Nobel laureates with the Pope was that there's the goodness of human nature. And if organized religions, if religions don't step in, people need faith. And if the Pope had not pulled this together, we were seeing cults going crazy on social media, right? So it was, we felt, first, a necessity, second, a way to bring all the faiths together and remind us of the goodness of humanity. And the last part is, you know, we even debated the hashtag be human, right? I was like, maybe something else, but it actually works because now we're fighting a machine. And so this is, I think Tawakkol talked about peace. We've done this a few times now, and always peace is underlying everything, because if we find our way, very simple, to that golden rule in Catholicism, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, makes a peaceful world, doesn't it?
Does too. Dom. This is great. Nobel laureates. They open their mouths to speak and you lot applaud. It's like magic, huh? Dom, you were there with Professor Yunus last year with us and this year, okay? But I think you know the story of how One Young World ended up in there.
Well, first of all, thank you, Kate, for having me. I shouldn't be here. It should be Professor Yunus sitting in this spot.
Well, he's just running Bangladesh now.
Yeah.
Well, I was just about to say
Small
that.
country, 136 million people, not a lot to do.
Not a lot.
Just about to share that, so I'm honored to represent him today and to be with you here in this panel. He sent me a message that he's in spirit with us and he's greeting all of you, and of course hopes very much to be back next year at One Young World.
Look at you. You're so funny.
And as you just say, he can't be here because he just took over leadership as Prime Minister in his homeland of Bangladesh.
Yeah.
With young people in his cabinet.
We're coming to that.
Big
Two
challenge,
student
big
cabinet
challenge.
members, two student leaders are in his cabinet, right?
One is a One Young World
Big
ambassador too.
challenge, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Sorry, we.
So
Our house, so it's,
We're talking a lot.
So for Professor Yunus, it was very clear from the beginning on to bring together the initiative of Pope Francis, Fratelli Tutti, and One Young World. Because One Young World is a youth-led, youth-driven peace and development movement itself. So it made much sense to connect these global alliances and to give, in particular, the young leaders the opportunity and the much needed opportunity to have a seat on that table, which did not happen before. So I think the rest is history, and One Young World joined the human fraternity meetings and will continue to do so.
Do you remember last year was...
I want to say something.
Yeah.
Regarding Professor Muhammad Yunus. And when I knew that Dominic will represent him, I was celebrated, because that is, you know, the real meaning of the soul of Dr. Muhammad Yunus is with us. And he used it in all the One Young World, you know, summit. And he was a key part of writing the fraternity, you know, document with us.
Debate, yes.
Declaration. It was a really outcomes for us as a group, as a Muslims, Christian, Jews, as I said, and a lot of people from many religions, and people who doesn't believe in religion. This is a declaration from human being. So, but what I want to say that Professor Muhammad Yunus now, he plays a role of as a Prime Minister of Bangladesh. And he reached to this, he is an interim Prime Minister, that he will lead the transitional period of this country to transfer it from the dictatorship to be a real democratic country. And he wouldn't be able to reach to this moment, to make this great change without young people in Bangladesh. So the great young people made a great peaceful revolution that changed the status quo in Bangladesh. A big applaud, a big respect, a big happiness, you know. This is the real meaning of fraternity and of brotherhood and sisterhood. And when I accepted the Vatican invitation to be in this summit or to be part of writing this declaration, I really was worried. I said, oh my God, I will go to the religious people and they will tell me that fraternity and peace is just kiss each other and hug each other. And
that's nice too.
Yeah. I said, oh my God. I said, no, that is not my interpretation to the peace. Peace is fighting for democracy. Peace is fighting for justice. Peace is prosperity. Peace is development. This is the real meaning of peace. And that is exactly what happened when I was in the meeting. Okay, we have to put dictatorship, fighting dictatorship in the declaration. They said, yes. We have to write fighting occupation in the declaration. They said, yes. So that is the real meaning of peace. And that is also, we said that it's listening to the young people. Young people should be involved in the making in the making decision. And this is also kind of fraternity, not marginalized youth, not marginalized women, not marginalized minorities. So I'm so happy, and big salute to our brother Muhammad Yunus. He did a very great sacrifice to reach to this moment. And when this happened, he sent me a message, wow, Tawakkol, we didn't expect this turning point. Our struggle for freedom, justice, democracy will finally prevail. And this will not happen without the sacrifice, the dreams of the youth and young people of Bangladesh. So if there is here a Bangladesh young people, thank you for giving this, the symbol. Thank you so much.
You know, Tawakkol said she was concerned that we would all be there and hugging each other and all the
Which
rest
is good. It's more than that.
Come on, that first
I will hug you after that.
That first one, there was a big argument in there. Yeah, there was a whole lot of argument going on.
But it was good.
Not nicey.
Yeah.
Maria, darling, do you remember that first year? Professor Yunus sat with the cardinals and finished the drafting of the declaration. And it's important stuff because it's going to be you guys soon, okay, doing this kind of work. So there was a first declaration, which was really the declaration on behalf of the foundation.
Yeah.
Okay?
Fratelli Tutti.
That was Fratelli Tutti, Brotherhood for Everyone. And then this last year, Graça Michelle Mandela was with us.
Yes.
But now the second time, and I think Professor Yunus was tired, yeah. But he asked you to do the drafting. Talk us about the drafting, because you spoke to me when we went to the roof for that supper about the drafting. So you're following in Professor Yunus's footsteps with the drafting. So it's supposed to be good, yeah?
Let's see. No. Look, I think what was fascinating in the entire experience is that we literally had the world and different religions. Gender, for example, was brought up a lot.
Yeah.
And again, faith, right? Where to stay? Next, let me leave it just with this, because it's all still moving. But next year is the Jubilee. If you're Roman Catholic, like I am, a renewed Roman Catholic, you would know that the Jubilee happens once every 25 years. And next year, I will be going back, not just for our meeting, but I'll be going back a few times, because the role of the church and religion in general, it's important to know this in each of us, right? It is actually visceral. It's as visceral as fear, anger, and hate, as inspiration and joy. So I think what we hope to try to do in the document that goes out for the Jubilee, and we've had the draft, is to inspire the inspiration and joy to restore that visceral connection. And Tawakkol can inspire you, and because this woman just like infuses energy, right?
And you?
I know, but I think the key part is for you to do that as well, and that this is not the time to sit back, and as I told you earlier, this time matters. And having 30 Nobel Peace Laureates around a table, that was incredible, because you could see the problems of the world, from landmines to climate change to nuclear war to the different wars that we had. It's funny because, Yemen, and then I think I was information operations, social media, really, truly, coming onto that, and then to come together and have all of this in there, in a government thing, I began to understand more what the UN has to deal with and what governments have to deal with.
And remember, I know what I wanted to talk to all three of you about, actually. Do you remember the first one? I'd said to you and Professor Yunus, we're working so hard to draft this statement.
Yeah.
Where's it going? It sits in a press release that no one's heard of. So when you were doing drafting, we were still concerned about that, and that's why we all wanted to bring this to you, is to say we will be publishing the original founding document and the Be Human statement, so that you guys can read it, because we felt very strongly, and I think Professor Yunus as well, that you should be seeing this, because otherwise it's a brilliant document from you, my lady.
Yeah.
But
no, not me.
It's a document.
You're talking about very important thing. What's after? After also publishing it, it's very important to focus about the implementation. The government that will be with us in this declaration, the NGOs, the corporation, the individuals, that we need this kind of very big, very important declaration to be implemented. And one of the most important thing, implementation to this declaration, is to stop wars and conflict around the world, because this is the real meaning of fraternity.
Yeah.
How can we spread fraternity where there is war in Gaza? Where there is war in Ukraine. There is a genocide in Palestine, in Gaza, and, Sudan. And so it's very important that this genocide should stop, this war, this dictator should stop. We have to be brave. When we call for peace, for fraternity, we have to be brave on pointing our fingers on the problems. Those dictators are the source of all problems. The occupation itself is the source of all problems. So we need the implementation. We need this wars to stop now. And this is the real meaning of fraternity.
But the flip side of this is really what's at stake for the world today, right? The question that we're facing is whether or not a rules-based international order still exists.
Yep.
Because that is the attack, right?
Yep.
Or can it survive this moment? And what you heard me talk about, the corruption of the information ecosystem, that is breeding violence. But then simultaneously, you have Putin and Netanyahu. So you have to figure out, what is the world, where are we headed? And in order to fight for peace, you actually have to have faith in peace, in the people around you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dom, speak for yourself and Professor Yunus. You were with us there, about the statement, the latest one.
I think the most important way it all culminates is actually in the hashtag that was created, Be Human. It's about be human. This includes the fraternity part, and this includes everything that we do not want to see in the future, that we do not want to live with, whether it's injustice, whether it's inequality, whether it's failing institutions, whatever it is. Be human means to be inclusive and building inclusive societies globally. And this is actually the main message that what I see came out, and I'm very much hoping that you all read it and share it in your networks, in your communities, and actually bring it to life, live this document. That's the most important part.
I'm reminded of the first One Young World that we had a young woman who's actually a Muslim woman, who in her speech said, there is no religion out there that says you should kill somebody.
Yeah.
And this is, Tawakkol, to your point about war. What are you doing? You killing your brother and your sister? What are you doing? It is always wrong. It is always, always, always wrong. I always say the truth of the matter is, and I remember discussing this with Professor Yunus, violence is, all right, and you okay?
Yeah.
Violence's only child is violence. It has no other offspring. It just goes and it goes and it goes. So we're going to have to close shortly. You okay, sweetheart? Yep. So we're going to have to close shortly, but we want...
I can make some peace work.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to have to close shortly. So statement from each of you about be human. From you. Your meaning, be human, action to be taken when you're being human. Be human. Dom, you want to do that one?
I want to quote Professor Yunus here in this. In his first address to the nation, when he returned to Bangladesh, he said, we have to focus on the dreams of the students. This was a student-led revolution, student-led movement.
And they died for it. It was violent. Huh?
Paid the supreme sacrifice for it. So he said, your dreams are our dreams. How powerful is that? This is so human to act as a leader following these sacrifices of those students. So, and this for me is being human.
And that's a real leader, isn't it? That's a leader.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tawakkol, go on.
Be human and see all our differences as something power us, as something rich in our humanity. Be human on fighting injustice, corruption, dictatorship, occupation. Be human on working for freedom, justice, peace, equality, democracy, and rule of law. Be human and accept each other and love each other, work with each other, and solve all the problems and chaos around each other. Thank you.
You know, we should have ended with Tawakkol, because it's hard for a journalist to talk about love, even though in the end it is about love, right? Because the only way you fight hate is love.
Yes.
And the only way you get to peace, to be human, I wanted it to be much more than being human, because war and fear and hate is also the worst of being human. I think we're aiming it towards what gives us hope, what Professor Yunus had said, which is really, truly a better future for all of us. So to me, being human today in the context of Fratelli Tutti is restoring balance, the rule of law, looking at, and you've heard me talk about tech forever, big tech, reclaiming our rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, we mentioned that many times. And you know, while we mentioned Ukraine and Gaza, please also look at China and the South China Sea, or what we call the West Philippine Sea, because we've come as close to a shooting war as we have ever had on June 16th.
Yeah.
So being human means looking across at someone who can be your enemy and calling them friend, right? The tapestry, weaving together the tapestry of humanity and looking at history, accepting history, context for where we are, and restoring the nuance that will bring us back to, here's how I started it, love. I almost feel shy as a journalist to say the word, but love is the...
Yes.
Yes.
Love. You're a
She can say
journalist.
it better.
She's a journalist. She has to be outspoken in this. Yeah. You are the voice of truth and love.
So with all of that, and I agree with you, because as a former business person and very transactional in the way I deal with things, as you all know, I squirm when I say love. But these last couple of days, some of the sessions that we've been to, I just look at people pouring love into each other, pouring devotion and support, and like you guys with our wonderful coordinating managing ambassador, Safe, just loving him so much is really, really a big thing. And our hope for all of you really, with this guide to our behavior of be human. The only thing we would ask of you, because, hey, you're it. Tomorrow's yours. We won't be around. I certainly won't be. Believe that peace is possible.
Yeah.
See the vision that you think is your vision, your dream of peace. Because your dreams, as Professor Yunus said, your dreams are our dreams. Yeah?
Thank you.
Please thank the greats.
Yeah, thank you. I thank you.
Thank the greats.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dom.
Thank you.
From all of you. Come on, Davey, come for a picture.
And thank you, Kate. You master.
I'm so nervous.
Hey, Dom.
This is pathetic.
This way?
Oh,
We do this well, too.
Get these
Thank
two.
you so much.
Get a good one. Photographers, hello. Get these two.
What?
One more.
One
Smile.
more. Yeah.
This is the revolution. It's standing right here.
She's saying that she's a journalist and she shouldn't raise the voice of. But it's victory and peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria, Tawakkol, Dom, and thank you, Kate.